Hello, friends. Thank you so much for clicking on another video. Welcome or welcome back to Budgeting Over 40. I'm Melissa, and it is payday, you guys. We have $3,983.77 to budget. So let's jump in and take a look at the numbers. All right, you guys, I appreciate you so much for being here. There is a lot that's going on in these last few days of April. We have a lot of overspending to cover, and this money that you see in Ready to Assign was actually earmarked to have some of it roll into the month of May. But what I can see for right now, I don't know how much of this money is going to make it into the new month. So we're just going to leave May and worry about May when the month starts. So we're going to try to get through the rest of this month with the money that you see here. So let's start out and take a look. So the 5 overspend category that we do have is heating oil. So when we did get back from Jamaica, I had to order heating oil because we were on E, you guys. So I ended up ordering 5,000. No. The amount that we spent was $576.95, and that was to fill the tank up. So it looks like the price of oil has gone down. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and fill it up and get it out of the way. I didn't have the money in hand, and that is why you see the overspending here, because technically we are still on the credit card float. So next up, there's propane that we had to pay a bill for $191.32. We need to cover that. Groceries. So since we went away, I didn't purchase a lot of groceries, but when we came back to an empty house and we had to go to the store. So there's $692.84 to cover for groceries. That's on a credit card. Car fuel, also on a credit card for $45 and a penny. And there is a little bit of travel expenses that we didn't cover in, I guess, using the monies that we had available for $73.07. So this is leftover that I didn't have any more money that I could move around to put towards this expense. So we're going to look at our fixed bills. For fixed bills, we still have some bills to cover. We have our cell phone. The amount for this monthly bill is $287.45. And then we have the internet slash home phone. It is actually $89.02. So we're going to change the targets in the month of May to accommodate or to reflect what the monthly bills are. So, all right, let's move into the My Babies category. After school, I have not paid any money to after school in the month of April. Yep, I haven't. So I'm going to assign $80 here to be able to send over and pay the bill for that. And child support, I didn't actually send any money for that either. So the full amount of 526 has to be made before the end of April. I really don't want any of that to roll over into the month of May. Now, the next one here is cars. For car insurance, this is already paid, but because of the target that I had set is asking for $11.73 more. We don't need that. I'm actually going to snooze it because the bill was already satisfied. In subscriptions, what I do have left to pay for fixed bills is iCloud storage for $9.99, SiriusXM for $7.99, and Amazon Prime. What they did charge last month was $16.30. So that's what I'm going to budget. So that takes care of all of the fixed bills that you could see here in our focus view. So let's go ahead and take a look at debt first to see if we need to cover anything there. So as you can see here, the debt category itself is covered. So what we're going to move to is the credit card payments. Now, Marcus doesn't have anything that's due, but Discover statement did close in the month of April. So technically, I'm supposed to put $101 here. But because the statement did close in April, I think I'm going to skip this one until the month of May. Now, it's going to be tight. I should be putting some money towards this because this is a balance transfer that the due date is January 2026 to pay off the full balance. But as of this month, just the month of April, we're just going to let this sit for a little while. Mattress Firm was paid. Capital One number one, the amount that is on this is in the overspending. So we are going to cover that, and that's going to take care of the balance that's on the card. Capital One number two, the same goes for that. This is the card that I usually use to purchase the heating oil. And then my Apple Card, there is a minimum payment that's due on this card, but it was already satisfied by using the card, whether it was on a daily basis, just to do the expenses that can be paid with a credit card. So as of right now, I haven't really paid the minimum payment that I had committed to, which is $50 per month. So I don't know how this is going to go. We're going to come back to these categories, our expenses, in a few minutes. So the savings, I know for sure I'm not going to touch that because whatever is in the savings that I was able to put through or over to these categories earlier on in the month, we're just going to let those be. So I'm just going to go through and snooze all of these. I had to move some around. So what I ended up doing, you guys, I did move some of the sinking funds and fully fund my emergency fund for $1,000, as you could see here, just so I don't have to worry about it for the rest of right now. My goal was to get to $1,000 and it is there. So we're just going to leave that and then worry about the rest of the sinking funds going forward until we can figure out this money situation. So passport renewal, I am going to snooze that. Teacher appreciation, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and snooze all these just so I can see what is left to be funded or what my underfunded amount is going to be for the rest of this month. So self-care, I'm not going to do anything else for the rest of this month. I actually did get my hair braided and I also got a pedicure before I went to Jamaica. So I'm not going to do anything else for myself really for the rest of April. All right. So what we're going to do next, technically, I would really want to put this money over into the month of May to take care of the bills that are due within the first week of the month. But you guys, it's going to have to wait. We're going to have to speak with hubby and see if he's going to be able to transfer any more money over into our household joint account to take care of the bills. So what we can do now is go ahead and cover these overspending. And because I am going to cover all of them, which is my goal, it is underfunded $1,592.91. I'm just going to click all of them and hit underfund and just go ahead because I have already spoken about what is overspent. So right now we are down to $1,374.11. That's the money that's left. So we are technically about $1,200 short of what my pre-plan was. And that's all in part of the heating oil because that wasn't budgeted in the month of April. Propane wasn't budgeted in the month of April. I completely forgot about that bill. So it is what it is. We will figure out how to get through not just the rest of this month, but also how to get through the first week of May. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about that until we get to that bridge. Now, for these categories that you see that are left that are underfunded, let's just figure these out. All right, so summer camp and activities is asking for money, but it's only because I did put a target on this. I do have to pay another $850 by June 9th. So I did tell you guys in my monthly budget for the month of May that I have installments to pay in the month of May in the amount of $600. The rest of it is going to be due in June. So we will worry about that when we get to May. So what I'm going to do, let's just go ahead and snooze this target. And I did make myself a note over here. So it is $500 per child for summer camp. The second payment, which is due on May 12th, is $150 per child. So that's $300. And then the third payment is due on the 26th, which is another $150 per child for $300 in the month of May per child. So that's $600, like I mentioned. The final payment is due on June 9th, which is $125 per child for $250. That's going to be due in June. And I made myself a note here just so I wouldn't forget. Now, the only thing I'm thinking that I'm going to have to do is get my son's haircut sometime before the end of the month. So I'm going to put $30 here. And then I can go ahead and snooze this target because he only will need one haircut between now and the end of April. Any other haircut will go into the month of May. Prescriptions, I can go ahead and snooze this one as well. and everything else you can see here, it is all green. And then we are going to talk about the credit cards. So, do I really want to put the $50 here for Apple? I think I'm going to go ahead and do that right after I jump into right after I jump into the month of April. And what I'm going to do, because I do have a little bit over $1,000 left, I'm going to put half of the rent in. So $1,250 for the rent. And then I definitely need to do $40 for my student loan, which is due on the 1st. So because I don't know what the money situation is going to look like when it comes down to paying the student loan, it is an automatic withdrawal that comes out on the 1st. So I'm going to go ahead and set that money aside. And the $54.11 that's left, let's go back over into April, and we're going to assign the $50 for Apple and the $4.11. Where can we put this money? Let's just go ahead and put it into groceries. You can see that there is $13.72. That is the balance of, I would guess, my target is $1,200. And because we haven't spent quite $1,200 yet, I did go ahead and underfund it. So it did put the $13.72 there. You know what? I'm going to leave it. What I'm going to do, let's find somewhere else. You know what? If I'm going to take my son to go get his haircut, I do need to leave a tip with the barber. And $4.11, I'm going to have to figure out an additional 89 cents to make it up to $5 because that's usually what I tip him. But I don't think $4 will be terrible either. I usually pay in cash. So if $4 is what I have, that's what it's going to be. So you guys, that's it. All the money is budgeted down to zero. Look how fast that $3,000 went. I cannot believe it. But what I'm going to do off camera, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make the necessary payments to these credit cards. I'm going to go ahead and set aside the money in the account that's needed for all of the fixed bills that are due, which is my subscriptions. I'm going to go ahead and pay my cell phone and also pay the internet/home phone bill and just wait to see how the rest of the month plays out. So we are all good on groceries. I think we're good on gas. And I think we should be okay for the next few days of April. May is all about, May is going to worry about itself when we get there. We will figure it out. Let's just talk about the now. And then when we get into May, we can worry about that. So, you guys, how did your April turn out? Were you able to cover all your bills? Were you able to save any money? Did you guys do anything special in the month of April? And are you ready for the month of May? So this is what our ending of April looks like. This is our last pay period. The next pay period that we have, or my first pay period in May, is on May 9th. I'm going to have to talk to hubby about some additional monies to be able to take care of the bills that are due, which is, i.e., the second half of the rent. We'll worry about that when May arrives. So thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm about 875 right now. Come on, you guys. I would love to be monetized. So please share with a friend. And if you are watching and you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that button. I would love for you to join my community and follow along with my journey. So until next time, you guys, I will talk to you later. Bye now.